It's been 2 weeks since the official teaser trailer for Stranger Things Season 5 dropped, so today I'm reacting to your theories based on this teaser trailer. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another Stranger Things Season 5 video. It always feels good to say that. Today, I'm actually reacting to your theories based on the teaser trailer. I made a version of this video a couple of times. I did a general theory video a while back, and then I remade it based on the To Doom date announcement footage, and now I'm here to react to your theories based on the teaser trailer. Before I get into this, hit that like button, comment down below your theories based on the teaser trailer, as well as your reaction to the theories that I address in this video. And of course, subscribe into that notification bell to help reach my goal of 150,000 subscribers here on the channel. I mean, quite a bit, but I've only got 22 here. There were over 300 submitted on my YouTube community tab, and I chose some of the ones that were the most relevant to the teaser trailer. Without further ado, let's dive in. This first one says, Nancy is washing Ted's blood off of her hands because apparently she's wearing his ring, and I think when Vecna comes for Holly Wheeler, Ted will try to protect both Holly and Karen, so Vecna will kill him. That's why Nancy looks so shocked in the one shot of her and Eleven together, because she's seeing her father dead for the first time. So, I've heard this going around online, this notion that Nancy is wearing Ted's wedding ring, and to me, I don't view it that way. I view it as just she's wearing a ring in general. Why does it have to be a wedding ring? I know that it is a gold band, I believe, and so oftentimes that does look like a wedding ring that a man would wear, but I'm not sure I'm totally on board with that. I don't know if that would be the first thing that she would go for in that situation. And I don't know if the Duffers want to get that dark where Ted is killed out the gate. Like I've kind of joked about in past videos, Ted is probably asleep or just somewhere else while all this is going down.
No sweetie pie.
I don't know how dark the Duffers want to get in terms of killing off the Wheeler family. Now, I think that it's pretty evident Karen and Holly are in danger, but is Ted just going to be killed in like the first or second episode? That'd be a dark turn for sure. I'm not putting it past the Duffers to do it or not do it, but we'll have to see. I don't think that she's washing Ted's blood off her hands, though. I think it's more likely that Karen and or Holly's blood is on her because we see them in imminent danger in the footage, whereas with Ted, we haven't seen him at all. So he could be out of the picture here entirely, and if he's already dead, she'd probably go ahead and try and help Karen or Holly. One of them would get wounded and she would rush one of them to the hospital where she would then get blood on her hands, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I've seen this going around about the wedding ring. I don't know if I buy into that, though. I think it's just a normal ring, not a wedding ring, in my opinion, but I could be wrong, and we'll have to wait and see. This next one says, the scene of Hopper and Joyce is a goodbye scene before Hopper and Elle go into the Upside Down. I could certainly see that. This is like a final, hey, I love you. They, share a sweet moment, and then boom, they go their separate ways, and we don't see them back together until way later in the season. I could totally see that. It does look like they are in Hopper's cabin here, so the question I asked in my breakdown, and one that I'm still asking, is, are Joyce and Hopper living together at this time? Because obviously at the end of season 4, or rather throughout the entirety of season 4, the Byers family have moved out to California. They're going to be back in Hawkins this season, it seems, and so are they just staying at Hopper's cabin? Do they have another house elsewhere? Really tough to pin that down. I think we'll get that answer pretty clearly pretty early on in season 5, but as I read this, yeah, I could see this for sure. It has that sort of, hey, we got one last adventure in us. I hope we make it out. I hope they both make it out as well, but that could be like a final scene between them before their ultimate reunion. I think the reason why Erica is holding a syringe is because she will have to sedate Max because Vecna is using her like Will, and they had to sedate him in season 2. Fair point. I wouldn't be surprised if she's sedating someone like Max or maybe even Will himself, because we do know that Erica is with Will and the other characters at that barn setting, so that's where this syringe could be going down. Again, wouldn't surprise me at all. At the same time, she could be using it on a demo dog or demo bat, but you make a good point there. We have seen a character get syringed to knock them out, and it was Will in season 2, so we could see that happen with Max as well, because maybe Max wakes up and Vecna has fully possessed her. That's a good theory that I think I could totally get on board with, honestly. This next one says, Will is going to discover his power when the burn commences, and that's when he passes out, and will also be the reason the group has to stop and let the Upside Down continue to grow because Will is still connected to it. And his power will be less like 11 and more like a spy like season 2, maybe being able to invade minds of creatures from the Upside Down. So yeah, it would make sense that when the burn commences, the direct contact of fire to that gate damages Will because maybe something's been reawakened inside of him. He's also been connected to this hive mind, at least we saw that that in season 2 when he was essentially possessed by the shadow form of the Mind Flayer. We also have that shot in the trailer of Robin outside the radio station looking up at like the shadow form of the Mind Flayer circling around the radio tower, and so that could play into Will getting almost repossessed as we see him collapsing inside the WSK radio station in the teaser trailer. And so, I don't hate this theory at all. I think there's also a shot of him sweating and falling out, and when I first saw the teaser and made my breakdown, my initial reaction was, oh, Will maybe just rediscovered his powers and overexerted himself, and so he collapsed from that. But at the same time, it could be because of the connection to the hive mind, and that could be a serious plot point this season that, oh, because of Will's connection, we can't try to eradicate the Upside Down. We have to figure out how to detach that part of Will from him so that we can take down Vecna and the Upside Down without killing or harming Will. I like where you're headed with this one. I like it. This next one says Linda Hamilton is actually Eddie's mom. That would be wild. I don't see this happening at all. I think Linda Hamilton's character is going to be her own person. We see her name is Dr. K, and that's really it. I think she's going to be a Dr. Brenner type, a government, military type who comes in and is sort of a hotshot who wants to run the show, but doesn't have all the information about, the Upside Down and is a bit misguided. That's kind of the vibe I get from her character in the trailer, but we'll have to wait and see. This next one says Will has powers. He is shown jumping from a tree that's pretty far away from the tree he's jumping from, and he escapes the Demogorgon doing it. This is superhuman. I'm with you 100%. I think Will Byers is going to be revealed to have physical powers. All along, he's had this sense, this connection to Vecna, to the Upside Down, a sixth sense of sorts, but I think we're going to see powers physically with Will this season. I don't know if those are going to look like, 11s or Callie's or Vecna's, whoever it may be, but I do believe he's going to have some powers. And my theory, and, something that I hope they do structurally with the narrative, is we find out as the audience that Will had these powers really early on, right, in the opening of season 5. And then throughout the season, Will rediscovers that he has those powers through a series of flashbacks. I think it can make for a nice narrative parallel. But certainly, they wouldn't have put that shot in the teaser for nothing of Will jumping off a tree. It's confirmed essentially by the behind the scenes teaser trailer where we see the actor dressed as young Will falling next to a tree that's identical to the tree we see Will jumping from. And so they're doing a lot with Will flashbacks, most likely to show his time in the Upside Down in season 1 and show us that, hey, he's had these powers all along. They've just been locked away in his mind and he couldn't fully access them. Will is hiding from Vecna in the Upside Down in the flashbacks, and that's when he says, "Found you." Found you. By the way, "found you," chill-inducing line. Great stuff from the trailer. I could totally see this. We don't know the context of Vecna saying "found you." The way that it's framed within the trailer makes it seem that that's what he says when he walks out of the gate, but it's probably going to be pulled from another scene, again, fully out of context. And so, not crazy to think this at all. It could be early on where he's like, yeah, "found you, Will." It could be he finds 11, and that could be the first thing that he says when he comes face-to-face with her. Maybe 11 reawakens something with Vecna in the Upside Down. I don't think it'll be the line that he says when he walks through the gate that we see in the trailer. Probably will be with either Will or 11, so that's a pretty safe bet. I think Will is going to be Vecna based on that moment when he is in the radio station convulsing, but Will figure out he has the ability to break from it on his own without the help of music when he collapses. Okay, so Will's powers are very strong in this case, right? I could see that. He clearly did something right as he survived his time in the Upside Down and was able to evade being killed for a very long time. I think a lot of those flashbacks we get are going to recontextualize what we thought we knew about Will's time in the Upside Down in season 1. But yeah, reading through this, we see the shot of him in the teaser where Vecna's hands right around his head, and it's framed similarly to when Max was about to get Vecna. There's some parallels there. I could certainly see Will getting Vecna. Like you said, I don't think it's going to be a full send moment. I don't think that's going to be how he dies if he were to die, but certainly he's going to have some sort of moment of peril where he's about to get messed up seriously by Vecna, and then he's going to find a way to break free. Maybe that's where he, is able to dig deep and really re-access those powers that he once had. This next one says the clip of Vecna fending off a fireball is really Will finally using his powers at the end of Ep 4, the Sorcerers. He constantly is using the fireball in their D&D games, especially against the Demogorgon in the pilot. Valid point. Fireball and Will have been connected. We even see Will drawing fireballs with crayons in the season. So not a bad theory here. I would say it's hard to say exactly what Vecna's fending off, but I viewed it as flamethrowers. Now, I think it's intentional in the shot that we can't see what he's holding off. It almost reminds me of like when someone in Star Wars, like Palpatine or Dooku's using their Force lightning and shooting it at Yoda, and he just balls it up and is able to block it. That's what this reminds me of, where whoever is shooting fire at Vecna, he's able to deter it, block it. I view this as someone with flamethrowers. We see a shot in the teaser of two guys with flamethrowers commencing the burn, right? They're burning a gate. Then it kind of seems like Vecna's going to break through that, and he's going to be able to block this fire, and he's going to be impervious to the flames, essentially. I don't know for sure if Will's going to be using fireball here, but you make a good point, because there is a shot of him actually collapsed next to Joyce and Mike in the similar setting, and it seems like that's going to happen maybe because of the burn, right? And then Vecna is able to break through, and Will's out of commission, so these are just the two people with flamethrowers. That's kind of my read on the situation. Lucas sacrifices himself for Max. Max won't even be conscious for it, and won't find out till she wakes up at the end of the season. That would be too devastating. I think that they're going to let Lucas live here, and Max is probably going to make it out alive as well. But if they were to kill him, I mean, you got to give Lucas and Max one final moment. This is a gutsy theory and or prediction, and I don't know if they have the stones to do it. I think that would be way too dark and honestly unsatisfying. So I appreciate the gutsiness here, but I don't think that's what they're going to do. You never know, though. Steve could be comforting Dustin after Dustin potentially sees some messed up ghost version of Eddie, just like Vecna showed to Max, blaming Dustin for his death. That would be messed up. Now, I do believe we're going to see Joseph Quinn's Eddie in this season. I don't think Eddie's alive, but I've said for years now that I think Eddie will show up in a vision, in a dream sequence, in a flashback, something along those lines. And you could make a pretty good point here, because if you look at the moment of Dustin, you know, embracing Steve and crying in Steve's arms, it doesn't seem like that would be right after someone dies. It's certainly possible, but to me, that's a good read on the situation. Like, maybe Dustin has just had his mind played with, and then when he snaps out of it, the first person he sees is Steve, who's his older brother figure, and so they share an embrace, and Steve's there to console him because Eddie was like another brother to Dustin. That's really going to be tragic to think about. Like, we're going to get a lot of trauma, a lot of grieving from Dustin, and I don't know if my heart's going to be able to handle it.
Never change, Dustin Henderson.
From specifically the teaser, I think Erica will die. We see her and Lucas running through the tunnels in one scene, and then in another, Lucas, but not Erica. And Lucas has blood on his shirt while looking up at something that scares him, possibly Erica being taken over by Vecna. I'm going to shoot this one down because I don't think Erica's going to die. Every time I make like a death prediction, I think Erica's one of the safest characters. I think that they also might want to open the door to a spin-off with the younger kids, and she would be game for that. So I'm pretty confident in this not happening. If anything, Lucas is probably looking up at Vecna himself, at a Demogorgon, or maybe at Max, but I don't think Erica is going to be killed or possessed by Vecna or any of that stuff. This one says Karen dies early on, likely in episode 2 while protecting Holly. Could you imagine if they had the guts to kill Karen that early in the season? I mean, there are only 8 episodes left, and from what we've seen, the stuff with Karen and Holly looks like it's going to be Ep 1 or Ep 2. But this goes on to say Eleven and Nancy see the aftermath and take her to the hospital. She's whose blood Nancy is washing off her hands. Jonathan will have an early on fake out death, but then actually die later when you think he is safe. I think that neither of the two big couples that the teaser shows, Jancy and Eleven, will end up canon to subvert expectations. Okay, yeah, so this whole entire theory, everything you laid out here, would certainly subvert expectations. I'm not sure if they're going to kill Karen that early on, but man, that would establish the stakes of this final season out the gate, wouldn't it? Whew. Hey, did you notice when the Demogorgon breaks the barn door, when slowed down, you see a red dot on the Demogorgon's back? Do you think that's a tracker? We do know Will is connected, so if the Mind Flayer knows his location, do you think they put a tracker on the Demogorgon in the Turbo Trap to know if the Demogorgon is after Will? That's an interesting take. I hadn't thought about this. I think I saw like one screenshot of this on Twitter at one point, but I have never actually addressed it on the channel. You make an interesting point here because you do kind of see something that could look like a tracker on the Demogorgon's shoulder, and so my thought here was, what if Vecna put those trackers on the Demogorgons and sent them out to go find these different characters so that he could see where they all are? I don't know if that's necessary, because I do believe he'll be able to sort of have this force connection, almost like Star Wars-esque level connection with Will, like a Vader Luke type thing in Empire, where he can sense exactly where Will is. But it seems like he sent out Demogorgons and or Demodogs to the different character groupings, and if there are trackers on them, it could make sense, considering, you know, hey, I want to find where they are, go find them, and once you locate them, I'll have the location. On the opposite end, what if Demogorgons have been hunted in Hawkins, and they're all trapped, and they have trackers on them in case they get out. Well, Vecna returns, and something goes awry with the Upside Down, and the Demogorgons are able to run free. So they have trackers on them so that they can be hunted down and killed. We know exactly where the location is. So there are a lot of different routes you could take with this. I think it's fascinating, though, the idea in general of Demogorgons being the main physical threat in season 1, and then by the time we get to season 5, they've taken a back seat and they're almost like the henchmen in a way. It's crazy to think how far the show's come, because it does look like, based on what we've seen, that Demogorgons are just going to be the henchmen to Vecna in a way, and it's just wild to think about. Speaking of Vecna, this next one says Will gets possessed by Vecna willingly. As we see the shot from the teaser trailer in the WSQK station with 11, Will, and Nancy, Will looks possessed just like Max, except the other characters aren't acknowledging it, almost like Will's possession is part of their plan. That would also be a gutsy thing to happen. Like, hey, Will can sense Vecna, and so he's going to get captured by him intentionally so that they can maybe, I guess, locate him. But at the same time, for so long, because we're going to have a time jump, for so long, they're going to think Vecna's defeated, so they're going to be shocked when he ultimately returns, in a way. I mean, they have an idea of him coming back, but maybe we just got to see what's going on. I think their plan right now is to sort of eradicate the remnants of the Upside Down, like that gate that has emerged where the rifts connected outside the library, but I just don't know if they would want Will to be intentionally possessed. I feel like that's going to be on accident. I don't know if anything involving direct harm, putting their friends in harm's way like that, I don't know if they're going to go about that intentionally. It's not a bad theory. It could work, but I'm not buying in fully. This one's dark. Vecna is attacking children / using them as hosts this season, since 1, Vecna's after Holly Wheeler, and 2, Mike and Joyce are protecting those new kids by the new gate. 3, there's a shot of a bunch of kids hidden in a bunker. Not a bad point here. You know, Vecna going after the younger generation for reasons unknown to us as of right now. But you are right. Holly Wheeler is potentially going to be the one to vanish. We've all kind of deduced that. And we see Holly in a room with flashing lights, Karen and Holly hiding from someone, likely Vecna or the Demogorgon. You know, Mike is jumping in front of this group of new kids. The younger kids are maybe in more trouble than the OG kids in a weird way. And as I sit here and read this, you're right. There is a shot of unknown kids hiding in a bunker. Is that to resemble the innocence of Hawkins and the civilians, you know, whose lives are at risk here and the real stakes of the season? That's kind of how I view it, but there is an emphasis on the 2 young kids there as well. So maybe Vecna is coming after all of them, and they're now hiding out to stay safe, and how times have changed. But man, that's dark for sure. The Duffers said that the season will start at 100 miles per hour. I think the whole burn sequence is from the first episode, and maybe that will somehow fail, setting the stage for the rest of the season. I could certainly see that. The way the trailer's framed does make it seem like the WSQK stuff, the commencing burn, all that is like the end of Ep 1 or maybe even episode 2. And so to your point, I could see that being the case where, hey, the first big plan is we're commencing this burn to try and eradicate the Upside Down once and for all and close this gate off. But could you imagine that goes awry and actually awakens Vecna, and he's able to find Will because of their connection via the hive mind, and that's why Will collapses. That's why Vecna's able to come through the gate. That would be nuts, and I do think we're going to start fast. This isn't going to be like past seasons where we have, 2 or 3 episodes to lay the groundwork of the plot. We have to hit the ground running here, and I'm ready for it. I'm excited. This next one's a fun one I had to include. It says, what if Dart came back as a full-size Demogorgon and he is protecting everyone from the monsters? For those who don't remember, Dart is D'Artagnan. This was like Dustin's pet for a second that grows to be a big old Demodog by the end of the season. Could you imagine it's now grown into a full-on Demogorgon? And hear me out, Dart is actually helping out the main kids. We see lots of Demogorgons in these final shots. Could you imagine if our heroes, the party and everyone, had a Demogorgon and Dart on their side? So 11 and a Demogorgon are fighting Vecna, Demodogs, and other Demogorgons. That would be epic as hell. I think that would be a really cool way to have a callback to season 2 and also have a natural way for the main group of heroes to have like more of a physical threat without it feeling forced, like, say, Callie pulling up at the last second, Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame style. Instead, this is like a natural way of being like, oh yeah, Dart would protect Dustin, right? That was my owner at one point, Dustin. I'm going to protect him and I'm going to fight alongside. That would be awesome. I don't care what anyone says. It would be super cool if, and hear me out here, the shot of the Demogorgon busting down like the barn door where we see Joyce and company behind it is actually Dart. I don't know how they would communicate that, but I'm just envisioning a Demogorgon and 11 fighting side by side against the greater evil, which is, of course, Vecna. This was maybe my favorite theory that I read. It got a real kick out of me. I'm so game for that. And this final one is a bit deeper. It's a longer one. The teaser hints that Hawkins isn't just merging with the Upside Down. Time itself is unraveling. The Upside Down is frozen in 1983, and now that it's bleeding into the real world, past and present are colliding. Will's strange feelings might mean he's becoming unstuck in time. Vecna may not just be a threat to Hawkins, he could be breaking reality itself. The final season might be about fixing time before the town is trapped in an endless loop. I like how deep you went with this theory. The song used in the teaser trailer, Child in Time, that plays directly into this. I'll read those lyrics right now. So these are the lyrics. It's a song by Deep Purple. I didn't get into this in my trailer breakdown because I wanted to just get that thing out quickly, and I didn't want to dive into the song too much, but here are the lyrics. Sweet child in time, you'll see the line that's drawn between good and bad. See the blind man shooting at the world, bullets flying, oh, taking toll. If you've been bad, oh Lord, I bet you have, and you've not been hit, oh, by flying lead, you'd better close your eyes, oh, bow your head, wait for the ricochet, I want to hear you sing. Child in Time, likely referring to Will Byers, because, to your point, time is frozen on November 6, 1983. Why? We don't know. We're going to find that out, but we know that from the journal entry, the diary entry that we see of Nancy's in season 4 when she is, of course, in the Upside Down. So I like this idea of time colliding, right? Past, present, future, the culmination, the sort of voiceover line we get from Jonathan here about everything that's happened has tied him and Nancy together forever. There really is this concept of time at play here. And I don't know how much they're going to go into time travel, at least in traditional terms in this season, but I do think sort of time slipping could take place where we see events from past seasons through a different lens, or, you know, there's this merging, like you said, of the Upside Down and the real world, or the right side up. There's a lot they're going to do with timelines. Is there going to be some sort of reset by the end of it all? Like, I don't know what the hell they have planned for us, and that's what excites me, right? It's fun to theorize, it's fun to speculate, predict, but we don't have all the answers, right? And that's what makes it special. Sitting down and witnessing the mastercraft unfold in season 5 at the hands of the Duffers and company is going to be thrilling, and I can't wait to see how it all goes down. But man, I felt like that was a really good one to end this video with, because they were dropping bars here. This line: Vecna may not just be a threat to Hawkins, he could be breaking reality itself. The final season might be about fixing time before the town is trapped in an endless loop. Gives me chills, right? Oh man, could you imagine the sort of Groundhog Day of it all, of Hawkins being stuck in time on November 6, 1983. Oh man, wild stuff. But that does it for this video, reacting to your Stranger Things Season 5 theories based specifically on the official teaser trailer. Let me know in the comments down below your theories, your reaction to all these theories, and of course hit that like button, subscribe to that notification bell, and if you want extra Stranger Things content, including a filming locations vlog that I recently posted, Patreon is the place to be. Any support over there truly does mean the world. That's going to do it. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and until next time, I'll see you on the other side of the Upside Down.